Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Week 9 recap show. He's James the Thrusting Moynihan. I'm Ross Berge. We have your typical six-pack of topics brought to you by PBR.
Smooth going down, and it's smooth coming out. Albert Einstein, Mike Wallace, made Albert look like a genius on Monday night as Wallace got exactly 17 points to just pull away that 1-point victory over JK.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, trust me, I was praying for it to happen, but I never thought it actually would. This is the second week in a row I've gotten help from owners knocking off the top team, so another thanks goes out to Albert.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Another big win for Albert, and just able to keep pace with Andy, as those two have had virtually identical seasons, and it's almost as if they were separated at birth. A tough loss for JK in a game that he really could have and should have won. I think it might come back to haunt him at the end of the season.
Yeah, it could be. No Chuck Norris. Chuck has been looking very human recently, losing 3 straight, and now suddenly sits in 4th place. So what should Chuck do?
Well, you know, it's no secret that I saw Chooch's losing streak coming from a mile away, and the road doesn't get any easier as 2 of his next 3 games are against Grimm and Jed. Chuck has to realize that his luck has simply run out. He has to make a move that will benefit his roster, and I know that sounds cliche, Ross, but it's something that he just simply hasn't done for the last 2 months.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to be more active with his team. He simply hasn't been adding the free agents that he needs, and he's been making some foolish starts. For instance, guys like Golden Tate and Devery Henderson should have never started all year. Chuck started Henderson 5 times and got, on average, 2.6 points per start.
Not good.
Yeah.
We move down to 1 in Snoots. Snoots has now lost in a remarkable 8 straight games. What do you make of this absolutely horrendous streak?
Believe it or not, I still think he has a decent team.
I don't believe it.
I'm as shocked as anyone that he's dropped to last place. His season's definitely over, but as you pointed out to me earlier this week, he can actually finish with a winning record.
That's true. It's definitely been a tough season for Ricky, and quite frankly, I just don't see it ending anytime soon. Ronnie Brown has not been the player that he thought he was going to get. Steve Smith hasn't scored a touchdown since week 2.
Right.
He has Danny Woodhead in his number 1 running backs position, and he was cut by the Jets in the preseason. So really not something that you're looking to have as your number 1 running back. But I certainly do think he can play the role of spoiler in the latter half of the season here.
Agreed. Bye-week bonanza. Over 10, I think 12 free agents added today. What were your favorite pickups?
Well, obviously, J.K. getting Mark Sanchez is huge. He has Drew Brees on a bye, and he loses Matthew Stafford for the season. He goes up against Jed's Flying Macackies this week. And if I were Jed, I would have dropped at least James Jones and Jason Snelling, if not both of them, and put waiver claims on 2 quarterbacks this week to try and block them from J.K. But what do I know? I'm just a 3-time champion.
I'm just thankful Chuck actually made a drop and dropped Devery Henderson, picked up Eddie Royal. Also, thank God Jake made an ad drop. I'd like to point out, Jim, looking at the league's trade counter, everyone besides Chuck and Jake have averaged 20.5 acquired players thus far, whereas Chuck and Jake have had just 5 acquisitions all year.
Absolutely. There's breaking news that has just come onto the set. There has been a trade between myself, the A-Town Rat Tails, and Brandon Grimm. I have now sent away Anquan Bolden, and I've received back Javid Best, who I had for a few weeks. Nice to have him back on the squad. And I've also required Dez Bryant, really just filling that roster out, and I'm just hoping for an injury at some point.
Yeah, you got a lot of players, Jim, that I think you need to manipulate and try to trade some.
Hey, coming at you guys. All
see.
right. Week 10. As always, there are definitely some big matchups this week. It's definitely highlighted by Jed's matchup against JK. Who do you like in this one?
I think JK wins this one. I mean, he simply has a better team. But with Brees and McFadden on a bye, I think it'll actually be a close battle.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great matchup. I might watch our fantasy scoreboard instead of watching the actual football games this Sunday just to see how it plays out. To me, it all comes down to Gore versus Foster. If Arian Foster can hit between 25 to 30 points this week against Jacksonville, I think Jed takes it. And my guess is that Foster is able to do that, and Jed does come away with a victory this week.
Yep.
Surprisingly enough, that matchup is actually our marquee matchup. We got Jed coming on the phone.
How you doing, guys?
Hey, Jed, we welcome the longest winning streak in the league, Jedediah Althouse. Welcome
Sitting
to the
at
show.
6-3, Jed putting together a solid season. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Absolutely.
What do you think of your upcoming matchup this week, Jed?
Well, I think this matchup is kind of the proving point of this team. I think a lot of people can say what they want about the win streak. There was a lot of close calls, but the team's been suffering, but they've been pulling them out for me every week, and I think that they might have at least one left in them.
Yeah, Jed, you've definitely over the last couple of years have proven yourself as a quality fantasy owner, and sitting at 6-3. I would say that you were an underdog coming into this season, but you put together a solid squad. What do you think has been the biggest surprise for you on your team?
Well, I've got to say that the Foster trade for me has really pulled out well. It was, I think the biggest surprise was a negative thing on the part of our season in terms of that receiver trade with Malcolm Floyd going out. Of course, we've had to work around that, but we have. I think it's just a surprise performances every week from different guys. I've had to throw a lot of different people in there, and a lot of people have come out strong for me when I needed them.
Yeah,
absolutely. Seems like you've really rallied the troops.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've had to, with the loss of Malcolm Floyd right after, his trade to the team, to the Flying the Cucks. Obviously, my loss of Collie and Adai.
Mm-hmm.
If that was a non-issue, then this team would be definitely considered in the front runners.
Absolutely.
But neither of them are probably planned to come back anytime soon. I think the biggest thing this week is whether or not Malcolm Floyd's coming back.
Exactly.
And whether or not he's going to start.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, Jed, you've been a big surprise, and you've been able to cope with some big losses, but it's good to see that you're a contender this year, and we appreciate your feedback tonight.
Jed,
it's always good to be there.
Do you have a score, a guess on the score or anything like that as you go into a matchup against second place JK?
Well, I think it's going to be lower than he's used to scoring and maybe higher than I'm used to scoring.
Okay.
I think we're looking at an 80s to low 90s score here. I think we're going to have a few big players that come out. I think Schaub will have a really good day. I think Foster's going to come out strong. It'd be nice to see if Willis McGahee did as well. On his side, I think Miles Austin is going to continue his slump. And Sanchez will only be mediocre, but he does have LaShawn, who very easily could get those 19 points against the Redskins. So he's going to have some really big scores on his side, too. It'll just be, I think it's going to be neck and neck there.
I agree with you, and Jed, I'd like to say that I think you're going to take this one.
Thank you. I appreciate the support there.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for the call, Jed.
Hey, thanks, guys. You have a
good luck.
night.
Absolutely. Good luck, and everyone, God bless.
See you guys.